Erica. Gully the King and Wallow, of course, I'm sure you guys know about their podcast, $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, came on the Breakfast Club, and Wallow basically forced Gully the King to come out and basically say that Jay-Z is responsible for blackballing his hip hop career, because everybody know that Gully the King was before he was king, he was Gully the Kid. He was a hip hop artist, and he never actually his career was more street popular than mainstream popular. His career never really took off. You know what I'm saying? So even though he had a lot of different connections, one person he always talked about is Birdman and all the different business relations, but he was one of those hip hop artists that has so many big business meetings and stuff like that on the table with people that ran the hip hop culture, and unfortunately he never actually made his hip hop career happen the way that I guess it should have happened with all the business meetings that he had. And long story short, they go on the Breakfast Club. They get to talking about Gully the King's career. He comes out and he talks about how he was supposed to be signing with Jay-Z in the early 2000s, and it was supposed to be him and a group of other people, but he decided to back out of the deal. And then Jay-Z allegedly said to him that this is what Jay-Z allegedly said, and Wallow forced Gully the King to come out and say it. And it's crazy because it's Gully the King is the person who is he doesn't care. He's so outspoken. He says what he want to say, but literally, this is the first time I see him look shook, okay? He looks scared, He looked scared to say anything about Jay-Z, and it's yo, this is some weird Twilight Zone shit. What is really going on behind the scenes, man? But anyway, after Wallow basically verbally beat it out of him, he comes out and he's like, what did Jay-Z say to you after that meeting? Because they're saying that State Property wasn't actually a real group of people that went over for a record deal. They allegedly said that Rockefeller put them together because they were trying to replace Gully the King's group or whatever. And Gully basically said that Jay-Z said to him, allegedly, that he was going to make it hard for him. And he said that's when he noticed his career took a flop. And then outside of that, there's been a few other people. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if people are, particularly just coming at Jay-Z, because we know, Choke No Joke. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's a film director guy that used to work for Rockefeller and stuff like that. And he was always talking negative about Jay-Z and stuff like that. And he was waiting for other people to come out. And the moment that Gillie the King came out and said that, yo, this man was so happy about it. It's just crazy because he got a weird obsession with Jay-Z. And he hates him. It's crazy. But anyway, also, Quest also came out. Quest came out and basically saying that Black Thought was Questlove came out and basically said that Black Thought from the Roots, whatever, was blackballed also allegedly by Jay-Z too in another interview. Crazy. And then someone was saying somewhere around there was an interview of Cassidy basically saying that he believes that allegedly Jay-Z got him blackballed because of a fight that ensued between him and R. Kelly on the Best of Both Worlds tour, and Cassidy basically trying to help R. Kelly out when he had got allegedly attacked. I think he got pepper sprayed or something, and Cassidy was basically trying to help him clean it up and everything else. And he said that he knows ever since then that his career wasn't the same. So there's just a lot of people in the hip hop community these days coming after Jay-Z after he done did this big old business deal. And I don't know if it's because he did this big business deal and people are just hating and mad because he's still making money, and a lot of these hip hop artists, they're barely able to feed their families, or is it just them saying enough is enough and we need to basically be on some Me Too movement against Jay-Z? I really don't know, okay? But all I know is this is the stuff that's been going on, and it makes you sit and wonder what's the deal with that. And also I also want to just talk further in regards to Gully the King. And just the fear of him when he was he didn't really want to say it. And now it's got me watching his podcast now. And I'm hoping that don't nothing crazy happen with his podcast or speaking out on Jay-Z, because it noticed that a lot of times, and this is just in general, when you speak about powerful people and stuff like that in the industry, you say the wrong thing, and next thing you know, your platform is knocked down. Now, I don't know if this is going to actually happen again. Is it possible to happen? Gully the King and Wallow is signed to a major distributor and everything else. They're making a lot of money now. So maybe that's why Gillie didn't want to say anything, because those billionaire hip hop artists and stuff like that, and business people in the industry have a lot of power, and it can really affect their career, affect how they're able to feed their family. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot of weird stuff that's been going on. And you guys tell me what y'all think about that. If you guys follow that part of the culture, y'all tell me what y'all think about it, and comment below. One other thing I wanted to talk about too was Millie Mel came out and basically was saying, because everybody uses the word culture vulture, right? Especially like people like Dame Dash. If we're gonna talk about just like culture in general, we have people like Dame Dash calling people who's like Caucasian or whatever, that does work in the hip hop community or try to work in the realm of hip hop culture vultures and stuff like that, and particularly like DJ Vlad, or people call DJ Vlad a culture vulture and stuff like that. And DJ Vlad did an interview with the hip hop artist Melly Mel, and he basically talked about like how culture vulture isn't a real term, because hip hop is a group of culture vultures, and basically he was saying that most of the music that you hear in hip hop is sampled by R&B groups and rock groups and everything else. So how is it possible for you to say to the other non-black people that's a part of hip hop that they're culture vultures, when technically hip hop music is based off of one big culture vulture in session with samples and stuff like that? And the interesting thing is, he's a legend, of course, and he was one of the first hip hoppers and rappers ever to come out, out of New York and everything else, and had their first hit records and stuff like that. So, a man like that knows what he's talking about. But it makes you wonder, like, is it possible for there to be culture vultures in the hip hop culture if hip hop is made from other people's culture, and they've sampled R&B music, they sample rock music and everything else just to make hip hop music? You know what I'm saying? Like the DJ will mix these different sounds together and samples together, and then then after that, as the DJ's playing, then you got the rapper rapping over the beat and stuff like that. But these aren't original beats per se. This is from back in the day where you basically took people's samples, and there wasn't even sample laws back then. So it's interesting that he would say that, and I want to know what you guys think about that in regards to that. Does the term culture vulture, does it need to be retired? Is it really real? Is it just something that people make up in the culture to make it sound like it's real, even though most of hip hop is a bunch of song samples of like R&B and rock artists? Interesting thing to think about. That's something interesting to think about, and I hope you guys take that in.